shot. Come on. Yeah!
Needs it.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to all of you, live from Cadillac Extreme Bowling Center here in Waterloo, Iowa, as the PWBA Tour Championship Week continues here from Cadillac XBC. It is event number 2. It's the PWBA Pepsi Open. We've got a stepladder final for you in just a few minutes. Top 5 stacked, but a little bit of a different feel. You're going to see some new faces. Some of you may be introduced to a couple of new names that you have not seen before, which is always exciting when we get to this point of the season. Again, good evening to all of you. My name is Emil Williams Jr. and pleased to be joined once again by Sydney Brummett. Sydney, the top 5, a little bit different. A couple of non-members on tonight's show. The top seed, a non-member in Caitlyn Johnson. She held on in what was a very, very difficult position round for a lot of players. Some movement, but ultimately Caitlyn Johnson did hold on for the top spot.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to see these two new faces in Jasmine and Caitlyn, but you know, they're no stranger to these moments. They've been in these big moments. Both of them national champions at their respective schools. I'm sure we're going to see their best today.
Indeed, the number 2 seed is Jillian Martin. We saw a little bit of her best just a couple of nights ago. She is making back-to-back stepladder finals appearances here this week. She's the number 2 seed. The number 3 seed is the Waterloo Open champion from just a couple of nights ago. That is Diana Zavjalova. And in our opening match, you mentioned Jasmine Snell. She's our number 5 seed, a non-member from Papillion, Nebraska. She will take on Verity Crawley, the number 4 seed from England. Verity looking for her second title of the season, winning early on. This is her 3rd show of the season, and again, Jasmine Snell making her first career PWBA stepladder final. We're seeing that more and more, players making that first show, making that leap, but Jasmine facing a very experienced opponent in that opening match in Verity Crawley. How do you see this thing shaking out?
It's going to take Jasmine a couple of frames to get her feet underneath her, more than likely. Verity could use that to her advantage. If we see Verity get off to a quick start, it could go in her favor. However, if Jasmine is cool, calm, and collected, like she just might be, this is going to be a tough match for either of the women to win.
I mentioned Diana Zavjalova taking home the title, running or climbing the ladder a couple of nights ago to win the PWBA Waterloo Open title. It stopped a drought that was 5 years running. Last time she had won a title prior to a couple of nights ago was 2018. She has been very, very good these first couple of days. Her ball reaction has been fantastic. She's been throwing it great, and I anticipate that to continue here tonight.
Absolutely. Diana's been on a hot streak this entire season. I believe she was 4th in points coming into this week. It's no doubt she's had a great season. It's just been overshadowed by players like Jordan Richard. Mm-hmm. So we're going to see Diana continue her ways of putting herself in the position to win, and we'll see if it comes out in her favor today.
All right, we'll take you to the lanes as we get set for bowling. Verity Crawley versus Jasmine Snell. Again, our number 2 seed, Jillian Martin, who is going to be moving into college here tomorrow. She's going back to Lincoln, Nebraska to start her sophomore campaign. But first, it's Verity Crawley. She is the higher seed and is elected to begin the match.
Come on, Verity. Come on.
Nice opening shot for Verity Crawley.
I was taking my equipment from the locker room to my car right before the shows and saw one of the Storm ball reps in the player locker room adjusting some surfaces for some players, and no doubt was utilizing the bottles that say polish on them. You'll see both Verity and Jasmine utilizing balls that are quite shiny.
First shot for Jasmine Snell. Pretty good shot for your first one in this environment. She leaves a 7-pin.
Post your shot, hit the 1-3, see what happens.
Big thanks to Chase Kaufman, our producer tonight. Cecil Scarborough back on Talent Stats. Patrick Martinez down lane, our photographer. All right, good spare. I don't know how I would react in that situation. So that's a great spare. Jasmine, 34 years of age. Finished 17th this year at the Queens. Won a couple of matches from Papillion, Nebraska. Originally from Minnesota. Got a birthday coming up September 23rd. She will turn 35 years old. Oh, wow. Chase, just breaking news. Well, we'll get to it in 1 second. That's a little left. And just the 3-6. Sounds like Chase Kaufman shares a birthday with one Jasmine Snell. How about that? Okay, Chase. She also finished 13th at the Waterloo Open. She was the alternate for match play a couple of days ago, and here she is now advancing to the Stepladder finals in the second event.
Jasmine with back-to-back spares. It's interesting to note it's rare on the ladies tour for somebody to not use plastic at their spares. Jasmine chooses to use urethane.
Second frame, Crawley. And a trip 4. Late 10-pin trip as well.
Both on our show 2 days ago now, as well as throughout qualifying for most of the competitors. The right lanes hooked a little more than the left. Unsurprising to see Verity throw very similar shots on both lanes and have the one on the right hook slightly more in the body of the lane.
Early 12-pin advantage for Verity Crawley. Looks better. Oh, there's that trip 7-10 again.
It's been friendly here at Cadillac XBC this week.
Coming up nice. Early 3-bagger for Verity Crawley. In her third show of the season, as we get a look. She won the Grand Rapids Classic and the runner-up at the Great Lakes Classic. Not a Snell looking for her first strike. Bang, there it is.
We can see the difference between Jasmine and Verity's rev rate as we watch this first match of our championship round. Jasmine sliding a little bit further right than Verity. However, both players having the same goal in mind. Hit that tracer down lane at 10. If you do that, you're pretty set on hitting the 1-3, and it's a matter of, is my ball going to go through the pins the right way after that?
NCAA national champion with Nebraska 2009. So I had a runner-up appearance with the Huskers. Fourth frame. Ball just deflects slightly and leaves the 10-pin. Jasmine got her start in bowling. Mom was bowling in the work league and asked if she wanted to join. And I was about, I believe she said 9 years of age. And that's how it started for Jasmine, this bowling journey. You see that 6-pin just hang out and on back to the wayside in the back there. She's always been a non-member. She's bowled at least 3 to 4 events a season since the relaunch. But is a full-time job, or has a full-time job. She is a database analyst and provides database services for nonprofits. So Crawley about to step up here with a 22-pin advantage. For 4 in a row. 10 pin. Oh, kick it. Wow. So a trip 7-10. She tripped a 4-10. And now a messenger 10 for Verity Crawley. She starts with the front 4.
Using all the good hits in the first 4 frames. In my world, I call a messenger a flat 10 with velocity. And really, as a player, that's what we have to note.
For 5 in a row. It was a good shot. Expand on that a little bit, Sid.
Yeah, of course. So when we messenger something, the 10 pin is standing ultimately, and the head pin is coming off of that left side wall back across the pin deck. So there's enough force from the ball going down the lane that the pins want to fly around, but the 6 pin still didn't do its job. It didn't go the direction it wanted to. So more than likely, Verity made a small move off of her trip 4-10, and it resulted in a flat 10, but she was fortunate with the messenger.
Excellent start for Verity Crawley. Jasmine Snell for her first stepladder. I'd say this is a great start as well. Good look, of course, at Cadillac Extreme Bowling Center. Emil Williams Jr., Sydney Brummett, Chase Kaufman. There's a look at what we were bowling on. 46 feet in length with 24.35 mils. It's been high scoring. And on the other side of this Jasmine Snell shot, Sydney Brummett will explain why that is. Snell tripped that 4. It will not go. Another quality shot, and that's all you can ask for. Sid, why was this pattern playing on the higher scoring side, similar to what we just saw in the short pattern, even though it is a long lane condition?
Yeah, I did not expect it to be as high scoring as it was. We knew it would be favorable to get to the 1-3, but our bowling ball still wanted to go through the pins the right way. That's a testament to the talent here out on the PWBA tour. Her spare ball's got hips. Her urethane ball has hips. Makes a spare. But there's a lot of load structure in the middle part of the lane. And what I mean by that is that dark blue oil in the middle part is built up. And so if you can find a way to have your shape be bumped up right against that dark blue oil, you have hold, you have friction to the right because the reverse brush drop is pretty short. It's 33 feet. It makes it easy to get to the 1-3. And then the women out here are so talented. Our tour rep teams are geniuses. We get the surface prep right to be able to strike a whole bunch.
Ball change there for Jasmine Snell.
Great shot there from Jasmine. Leaves a stone 9. She went to what I believe is a Cologne. Quicker ball than what she was in previously. And I think it did, I know that it did more of the right thing than the ball she was throwing previously.
So Crawley, wasting no time stepping up on the approach, and Jasmine Snell really still in this match, but obviously got to find a way to double here. First, it's Crawley.
Great shot there from V. 9 pin goes late. All right, so she went trip 410, flat 10 with velocity, or as most people call it, a messenger. Messenger 10. 9-pin goes late. She's just dialing in her shapes. This is the first match on our TV pair.
33-pin advantage at the moment for Verity. As the strikes start to accumulate. Maybe a slight move left there. And 210. And again, Sid, that wasn't something that we saw a lot of from, especially during match play. We didn't see a lot of splits, but the one thing I noticed, and we talked about it, if you got it right down lane past the tracer, you could get into a little bit of trouble, but that didn't seem like it was the case here.
Yeah, that shot from Verity was much too steep through the front part of the lane. It gets to 8, 9 down there at that rangefinder. It's not going to get back from there.
Let's spare attempt. What does steep mean?
Steep meaning, I've never been asked to explain that in a different way. It means that the angle through the front part of the lane is greater. So if you imagine going straight up the boards, it would be pure straight. And then when we open up our angles, we're getting steeper. So if I was to go from 20 to 5 down lane, that would be extremely steep. But here on this 46-foot lane pattern, we can keep the ball in front of us, play a little bit straighter.
Snell now trailing by 21. Oh, what a shot there. Zinsol on the right lane now throwing 2 different balls. She really liked that shot.
Great shot here from Jasmine. 16 at the arrows, 10 down lane. She's throwing a symmetric solid, I believe, on the right lane.
All right, handles the business there. She told me it certainly feels pretty good to make her first show. At the time, this was before we got started, she was feeling relaxed. She also felt really good on the fresh. She thought her look on the fresh was also very good, which would help her settle into this opening match. But she was very specific on needing to be confident in what she does and staying slow. She said she's got this, as she described it, an angry focus as she lapped. Focused, very determined. That's how she's going to win this match. Can she strike in the 8th? In that similar zone that we just saw Verity's kind of labor down lane. There's a 2-8 in the 8th frame.
Compared to what I saw from Jasmine, both throughout qualifying and in the second round of match play, her ball speed is a touch firmer than what she was. We didn't see her fall off a lot of shots. More than likely that's coming from adrenaline. She's in her first TV telecast. She's in her first show.
And she's clean through 8 frames. And still in the match. If you are just joining us, this is match number 1. The PWBA Pepsi Open. Live from Cadillac Extreme Bowling Center. Emil Williams Jr. with Sydney Brummett, Chase Kaufman, our producer, Cecil Scarborough on stats to my right. There's a good one from Verity.
One of the first shots we've seen from V that we all would love to repeat day in and day out. Ball goes straight through the 8-9.
There's a look at the Pepsi Open prize fund. Similar to what we saw in the Waterloo Open. $10,000 to the winner, $5,000 to the runner-up. $3,500 for third, $2,500 for fourth, $2,000 for fifth. With a 24-pin lead, bang. That makes Verity's, of course, max now 247. Jasmine Snell only working with a max of 213.
We can see that Verity's shot on that left lane is much different than the one she threw previously. Got to 11 down lane.
A must strike. Now Clone on the right lane. Has it. She had to have that.
It's the best shot we've seen from her thus far.
Saw her throw her arms and enjoy, but she knows this one not over yet. A double here will be clutch. Inning 2 in the 10th.
Come on, Jasmine. Get in there. Get it.
All right, that's another. If she gets one here, well, specifically, if she strikes out, that's 213. Verity could go 9 out and win by 1 at that moment. So to put all of the pressure, of course, on Verity, she has to strike here and definitely needs it on the fill. Didn't like it. Knew it when she let it go.
It was actually difficult to go Brooklyn on this pattern. We didn't see it very often. You had to miss by a lot in order for that to happen. Jasmine's going to bowl a clean 2-0 game. And we saw it in match play. It was a rare sighting to win with a game in the 2-0s.
It's a fine game, very similar to what we saw from Carrie Smith, who made her first national TV or Stepladder Finals appearance during the Waterloo Open. Solid game, could not find a couple of doubles. Carrie shot 204, Jasmine shoots 202. Verity just needs 5 here on this first shot. 10 is great, and Verity Crawley will advance to match number 2.
I got asked by some of our friends that are normally in the Bowl TV chat who are here watching this week. Said we can't listen to the show. Give us a preview, and you can go back and ask them. I said I think Verity is going to be very hard to beat. Just how she bowled throughout the stretch of this event. And the fact that the players are going to get more time on this TV pair and she's going to get the most. I think she will be someone that will be tough to get through. Maybe her dear friend Diana will be the one to do it, but who knows? We'll find out.
That's a great point. And Verity went 5-1 during round 2 of match play. 231, 276, 210, 213, 268, 216. Again, the 5-1 match play record during round at number 2 specifically. Our first Brunswick bowling ball giveaway is coming up next.
Come on.
All right, nice game for Verity. An even better game for Jasmine Snell, making her first championship round appearance. Got to give it up for her. Always competes, again, 3 to 5 events this season. But it's Verity Crawley who will advance.
We want to welcome to the PWBA Winner's Circle, Brianna Clemmer.
Liz Culkin is the Long Island Classic champion.
Dasha Kovalova, your 2022 PWBA Pepsi Classic champion.
And congratulations to Birgit Norreich, your 2022 Queen's champion.
Emil Williams Jr., Sydney Brummett back in the booth with you as we get you set for match number 2. In the opening match, if you just joined us, Verity Crawley defeated Jasmine Snell 246 to 202. Jasmine Snell, not a full-time member, a non-member on the PWBA Tour, making her first career championship round appearance, and had an opportunity late still with the open frame in the 7th from Verity Crawley. Jasmine needed to apply as much pressure as possible. She could have done that by striking out for 213. Got the first. Tough shot, a second shot there, crossing over. Verity only needed minimal pins to get this one done. Sid, and now she will move on to face the most recent champion and a great friend of hers in Diana Zavjalova, who by all accounts might be throwing it the best maybe we've ever seen her. She has been excellent, and this match, I don't even know. This is like a pick-up at this point.
Yeah, I'm unsure who's going to win this one. I had the pleasure of crossing next to Diana on this pattern just yesterday, and there were moments where I was like, oh, man, I don't know if Dee's going to do it. I don't know if she's going to make this cut. And then we came back that second round, and it was like she had found this different fire within her. And I watched her go 260, 270, I believe, the last 2 games to make that top 12 and then skyrocket herself into this telecast. And now she gets to bowl her good friend Verity. I don't know. I feel like the vibes are good for both of them. It's going to come down to who can make the better shots the most amount of time between the two of them.
Good afternoon, or good evening, I should say, to all of you watching in the chat, watching wherever you may be watching from. Thank you so much. We appreciate you tuning in. As Mike just said, hopefully you got some popcorn ready, maybe a few snacks. It's been a full day across the board on Bowl TV with PBA regional action, PBA junior action going on as well, and we appreciate you sharing some time with us here on the PWBA Tour. There you see the hug at the bottom of your screen.
All right, bowling fans, it is time, our second match of the
As some folks in the chat just said, they don't know who to root for, but since Diana won a couple of nights ago, maybe go ahead and let Verity
share the wealth.
take this one.
Share the wealth a little bit. Well, Diana did make her 4th TV show to win her title. And now Verity's making her 3rd. She could win her 3rd title. Feels like the stars are aligning for V. But you'll never know. The scores were high this week. Either player could win. They both have so much striking power.
This is the 5th consecutive show for Diana Zavjalova, the 32-year-old Latvian native, now living in Fort Worth, Texas. First shot for DZ. And a late triple, the 9-pin.
We had Hope Gramley in the booth today during the second round of match play. She said one of her favorite hits in bowling is a messenger into the 9. Hope, I don't know if this one counts, but it does in my book.
Out of Verity, again, already a winner like Diana this season. Each of them earning automatic spots into the Tour Championship, which does begin tomorrow night. Crawley. Bang, good shot. Able to kick the 10 out. One item said that I think since the first time I ever saw Verity bowl, this was collegiate at this point. I think maybe I've seen her fall off a shot once. Have you seen that type of balance from players to be that good, that consistent? Every now and then you got to fall off one, but not for Verity Crawley.
The only other person I can think of is Julia Bond. Very rare do we see a player fall off of their shots. Players who are as disciplined as Verity Crawley anyways.
Looking for the early double. Has it.
It appears that Verity made a small move to the left. More than likely she watched Diana's shots in practice go down the lane. They are both sliding and at very similar places at the arrows as well as down lane.
So that was just inside the down lane rangefinder. That was about 11-12 down lane.
We used to play this game at Wichita State where coach would say, hey, I want you to, he'd give you somewhere to hit at the arrows and then say, hey, but you have to play catch in between the two rangefinders. And that reminds me a lot of what's going on here today.
Come on, Diane. Keep going.
Zavjalova to match. She does. So the streak for Diana began at the Grand Rapids Classic. Then on to the Bowler's Journal Cleveland Open, then the U.S. Women's Open, now the Waterloo Open, then, of course, now the Pepsi Open. 4th, 5th, 4th, the dub, and to be determined. 5 consecutive shows. The first of 3. And you saw that 6-pin not come out of the gutter and kick that 10.
And the load structure on this pattern that creates a lot of hole in the middle part of the lane is what allows that to happen. She missed very clearly up the lane. As we can see here in this replay, doesn't quite get to 11 down lane like the last one did. But this lane pattern was very forgiving if you were in the correct bowling ball and sliding in the correct part of the lane. So Diana is fortunate, leaves a single pin.
Single pin handle. And thank you to our PWBA Gold partners, Brunswick, Kegel, Rotogrip, Storm, and Lane Talk. They have provided all of the wonderful live scoring and available stats, additional stats for you this week on the PWBA Tour. Verity a little unsure about that one. She'll take it though, front 3.
In her previous match against Jasmine, shots like that came in the lights. Some shaker 10s. The messenger that we saw. This pair's starting to develop. So when she makes that miss now, the ball wants to hook just a little bit more, come back into the 1-3, and a better hit than she saw in the previous match.
Come on, Verity.
And a 9-pin. What'd you think about that shot, Sid?
It was left the whole way. She knew it. She stood up out of it. Her body language told us she didn't like it. Let's see where it gets to down lane. Oh, that almost doesn't even get past that rangefinder at 15. Fortunate to leave the 9-pin only rather than a 4-9. Uses a plastic ball to shoot her spare.
Zavjalova steps up, trailing by 10. She defeated Carrie Smith, Jillian Martin, Jordan Richard, and Shannon Pluhowski to win the Waterloo Open 2 nights ago.
Come on, Diana.
That is left. And it holds.
I had the pleasure of watching that for 12 games yesterday. I felt like she was Houdini. I didn't know how she was doing it. But something about her ball roll, and I believe she's throwing the same ball that she used during qualifying. Yes, an RSTX 1 with a lot of polish on it. It's par for the course.
Come on, Diane.
Fifth frame. Bang. Oh.
Ooh, 8-pin.
As you could hear it in the call there, there was a brief, momentary 8-pin. As we watch the replay, that double now evens the match.
8-pin just wanted a little attention. That's all.
Hadn't heard from him in a while.
Hey, I'm here. Just remember that.
Fifth frame Verity.
Verity. Yeah.
And she gets one right back. Of course, these two are Weber International alums. There are 3 Weber alums on tonight's show, including Diana Zavjalova, of course, and the top seed, Caitlyn Johnson. Jillian Martin and Jasmine Snell, 2 Nebraska Huskers. One an alum, and of course, in Jasmine, Jillian, the current Husker of those 2.
Come on, Verity. Get in there. Get in there.
And a little lazy 10-pin.
This left lane has been tighter both on our first show just 2 days ago and today down lane, meaning the bowling balls don't want to shape quite as much as the players would prefer. We see a lot of balls that go through the 9-pin on shots that the players think that they've executed well.
Good spare shooting, all clean, both of these players. For Verity 6, as Zavjalova gets set to step up in the 6th frame. Again, match number 2 if you are just joining us. Zavjalova stepping up. Right now, the match even. Got a chance to take the lead.
Go, Diana.
Looks good. Oh, no. And the 9-pin goes. Nine-pin galore here. It's a good matchup. We've seen Diana go double, 9 spare triple, 3 4-bagger, 9 spare triple. It has been a lot of the same, which for Diana is great because she's been on repeat for a lot of the time. Second time this season, these 2 players have met on the same show. Diana Zavjalova, the number 3 seed for the Great Lakes Classic. Verity Crawley was the number 2 seed then. Crawley advanced to the title match, lost to Jordan Richard.
Come on, Diane. Get back.
And that's about the only huge miss we were going to see from Diana. The last shot she had on that left flame, I believe, was the one that showed us she had quite a bit of hold. That one gets to 16 down lane. The pocket sits on about 17.5. Not giving the ball much room to shape. It still does want to hook, even though the pattern is 46 feet.
Tough split, 4-pin. All right, she'll take the count. The first open by either competitor. That's to Zavjalova in frame number 7. A max score now 245. Oh, Crawley will step up with a 6-pin advantage, making her 15th career championship round appearance.
Did you say 15th?
15. Bang.
Probably because she does stuff like that. I understand that Verity has made a lot of shows, and there was a season, I think, where she made a ton of TV shows, only to finish second, I believe, quite a bit. Her first title came in Louisville, if my memory serves me correctly.
Nashville.
Nashville. Close.
Greater Nashville Open in 2021. They got that second one May 31st, or I'm sorry, actually June 2nd was the date for the Grand Rapids Classic this season. Wow, and we saw one of those from VC in the previous match. It came in frame 7. This one frame later. This time the 8 is with the 210.
Makes this pair much harder to convert. At this point, you're more than likely just going to go for count only, especially with the situation that she's in. I tell college players all the time, make sure to pay attention to the situation you're in to know, do I need to try and make this one? Do I just need count? Verity, of course, knows what's going on. Tries to get count. Unfortunately, only comes away with the 2-pin.
I think even that shot, although she was not shooting at the head pin per se, but she was expecting that ball to hook and catch, of course, both the 2 and the 8. So there's a little bit of laboring down there. So Zavjalova, after the 4-10 she left in the 7th, steps up with a lead of 10 pins on a great friend, dear friend, one of her best friends, along with Daria Payok and Verity Crawley. Nearly the same situation that she just was in on the left lane, but just the 4-pin this time.
The lane pattern we're bowling on this week only has about 4.5 mils of oil on the reverse pass, meaning that it's going to break down extremely quickly. With Diana and Verity being in the same part of the lane, we could very simply be seeing the bowling ball start to hook sooner. Diana, the result of that is going through the face, leaving 4-10 combinations. For Verity, when the ball hooks early, it tends to lay off down lane, leaving those 2 10s. Glancing over, I'm noticing that our next person coming up in the stepladder is diligently watching this match. Jillian Martin was coming over, getting a look at what's going on in this championship pair.
Jillian Martin, again, is next. Top 5 finish for Jillian. Finished 4th, losing to Diana Zavjalova. They may meet again here. It depends on what's going to happen in the final 2 frames. 10-pin advantage for Zavjalova. Ninth frame. Has it.
Much better shot from Diana. Not so sure it was going to go through
Yeah,
the
still expecting
the
something
right
different down lane.
Yeah, she was kind of giving that one the stank face. I don't know about that. But 10 is 10.
For Diana, talking about Verity, this is her 18th championship round appearance of her career. Crawley cannot shut out Zavjalova. Best she can do is get to 225. Big shot there in the 9th. That's to apply the pressure.
That was a lovely shot from Verity. The question is, what will she do on this left lane? She hasn't struck on it since the second frame. Left lane, the first match, she only struck 3 out of the 5 times in comparison to the right lane, where she struck 6 out of 7.
I'm being told maybe a different phase 2 here in the 10th frame for Verity Crawley. Clutch move right here. Oh, gets the carry on the 7.
Some of those moments where you step up and you say, I'm just going to execute and see what happens, because she hasn't struck in 3 frames. We jokingly said, to some extent jokingly said, during the position round of match play to make this show, you know, what's going to be the problem for somebody having to use their spare ball would be the problem. And here Verity knows the situation. Once again, situational bowling. I'm in a must-strike situation. I know this other phase 2 isn't going to give it to me. I know my bowling balls well enough and my game well enough that I can make this change here and give myself an opportunity to win this match.
Big shot here. Oh, wow, on the 4-pin. It was grazed, did not fall forward.
Although 2 different outcomes, the ball reaction had similar results for Verity. Hits very similar. Just the first one, all 10 fell down, where this one, she left a 4-pin.
Gotta admire what Verity did there in the 10th frame to make a ball change. I'm sure thinking it was her best opportunity to win this match, and now just 20-pin fill for Diana Zavjalova to advance to face Jillian Martin for the 2nd time this week in a stepladder finals situation. You see Verity standing off to the side behind a great friend, Diana Zavjalova. A couple of hits of the rosin in the plastic bag for DZN. Did not like it. Gets a break.
This is where I go back and remember that Diana ended up being our 3 seed because Caitlyn Johnson went Brooklyn in the position round. If Caitlyn Johnson had gotten 9, we would have had a tie between Diana and Caitlyn in the position round. And Diana would have been our number 2 seed. We would have seen Jillian Martin in this match. Bowling always has a way of coming back around.
A 9 spare 9 would have presented the tie situation. But, you know, Diana mentioned 2 nights ago that she just needed some breaks to go her way. She was feeling lucky. Remember Stormy, the bear that she won? We'll talk more about that because there's been plenty of bears being won around here. 5 pins to advance. And Diana Zavjalova will advance. She will face Jillian Martin for the 2nd consecutive stepladder final here at Cadillac Extreme Bowling Center.
We saw Diana come off the approach kind of shaking her head, looking at Verity almost like, I'm sorry. And Verity just looked at her. It's okay. It's bowling. They're going to cheer for each other relentlessly around here when you're good friends, and even if that means beating one another, because at the end of the day, only one person's going to win out here. Different ball there in the fill for Diana.
Nice hug, great embrace.
Next up, Diana will face Miss Jillian Martin.
235 to 214, the final score.
The biggest thing, you can tag and label each game.
Whenever you use a ball, whatever oil pattern that you're on,
you can now track the ball's performance and compare balls side by side.
It is incredibly powerful, and it is going to help you analyze your game.
Boom! Try Lane Talk Pro free for 1 month. Upgrading the app, and we'll see you on Lane Talk. Got some.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Johnson.
Hi, I'm Shannon O'Keefe, and this is Duo.
Announcing the latest breakthrough from Rotogrip, the Duo, a new symmetrical bowling ball that performs on and off the lanes. HP3 striking power. Plus, a portion of every Duo purchase will be donated to Big Brothers and Big Sisters. That's Big Brothers and Big Sisters everywhere.
We're Shafani, and that's the Duo from Rotogrip.
Teaming up to make a difference. For Big Brothers and Big Sisters, you and the Duo from Rotogrip.
And welcome back inside the booth. Semifinal time here at the PWBA Pepsi Open. Live from Waterloo, Iowa, Cadillac Extreme Bowling Center, the venue. Gracious hosts as they have been all week long. Emil Williams Jr., Sydney Brummett. The semifinal is next. Jillian Martin and Diana Zavjalova will meet again. These two just met just a couple of nights ago in the Stepladder finals. Of course, Diana climbing the ladder to win that title. Jillian Martin was in the way at that point. Martin now trying to get a little bit of revenge. Different lane conditions, still the same amount of strikes available, Sid. Last time we saw these two, we were like, we think Jillian was going to be a little further left from a lane play strategy than Diana. Do we see the same thing about to take place here? How does Jillian get past Diana Zavjalova, who right now is the hottest bowler, certainly this week on tour?
I think it's the exact same scenario. We're just a couple arrows further left on the lane, sliding a little bit further left. Nick Hoagland did a great job this week, allowing us to play two very different parts of the lane. And we're seeing similar players make this telecast, which is really awesome. These players are showing just how talented they are. With Jillian and Diana, we're going to see if Jillian has to get too far left, she's going to start to struggle with carry. We saw that late in match play. Diana, if she can stay further to the right with her ball speed, she may be able to beat Jillian in this match.
Let's take you to the lanes for the semifinal match. Diana looks like maybe she put a different bowling ball on the rack. We will find out. And Zavjalova defeated great friend Verity Crawley 235 to 214 in the previous match. And now Jillian Martin again back at it. I've been mentioning all week she has excelled in these classic series-like events. She's trying to get herself an opportunity for a title right before she goes back to school. Not many people can just kind of say that.
It's rare.
Professional event before we go back to school.
Casual. Do you think she keeps the trophy in her dorm?
I actually, that came up in our brief conversation. She said that the size of the Pepsi Open trophy would fit nicely on a desk.
Get it started, Diana.
First shot, DZ. Good shot. 6 kicks the 10 out.
On that left lane, it's a very good sign. Jillian, smart, having Diana start the match on the left lane. Left lane has been tighter, down lane. It provided an opportunity when we were bowling on the shorter pattern. However, on the longer, may have struggles with carry.
Diana throwing still the RST X1. Jillian now will be tossing the RST X2. First shot, the young phenom. Oh my, big 4 situation there for Jillian Martin. And for Jillian, this is not a we're athletes, so there's always some small natural nerves, but she's plenty experienced at this point in this environment.
I'm watching that ball go down the lane just as you guys are on the replay. The difference between the X1 and the X2, you're seeing X2 much quicker, pearl cover stock. So when it sees friction, it's going to create that hockey stick motion.
There's a look at our match play and final standings here. The top 5, of course, Caitlyn Johnson, the #1 seed. She will face the winner. Ashley Galante finishes 20 pins back, nearly making her first career Stepladder Finals appearance. Familiar face in New Way Finn, Birgit Nordreichs, Jordan Richard, Juliana Botero, Sherry Tan, and Roberta Rodriguez, who had the front 9, I'm sorry, actually the front 11 in the final game today. Jillian gets the 7-10 to fall. She was trailing by 12 before that strike.
Quality shot there from Jillian. Diana's routine staying the same, exactly the same from what we saw just 2 nights ago when she ran the ladder for her title, the Waterloo Open.
And what has transpired because of that win, she moved into 2nd place behind Jordan Richard in the PWBA points list.
Keep it going, Diana.
Good shot, but she's got a chance. Things have to go her way, certainly, but she's got an opportunity to potentially win Player of the Year.
She does. When they were announcing her name as the players were warming up on this TV pair to our crowd here tonight at Cadillac XBC, and they said entering the chat for Player of the Year, she was surprised. I don't think she knew that after her win 2 nights ago.
Good spare for DZ. Diana again, the Weber alum. She could face another Weber alum in Caitlyn Johnson. 12-pin advantage at the moment.
With my new job title, this is a lot of fun to hear, considering I fly there in 2 days.
That's a great point.
Just in time to paint the locker room.
Coaching duties for Sydney Brummett. That's got a chance. Oh, best one so far.
Phenomenal shot for Diana. That one gets to the friction just a couple feet sooner than her ones that were wondering if they're going to go through the pins the right way. Still same down lane target. 10-11 at that rangefinder.
Things continue to go the way they have gone for Diana. She might have to move here to Waterloo. Jillian looking for her first double. What a good shot. You saw that 6 again wrap right around the 10.
Both for Diana and Jillian. 6-pin went way up and around the 10-pin. So close to striking. Jillian more towards 10 down lane. Her feet are further left than Diana.
Stowe, Ohio native.
Jillian, similar to Jasmine, who we saw in our first match. It is a Nebraska staple to some extent, not using plastic at her spares. She flattens out her hand, creating almost no axis rotation whatsoever. Without axis rotation, a ball cannot hook, and chooses to go straight at her spares that way.
Youngest to win a PWBA Tour event. August 10th, 2021, the Bowl TV Classic. And strikes like that will help her win today's PWBA Pepsi Open.
For Jillian, ball motion is quite quick right now. 23 at the arrows, 12 down lane. But when we see it get to the friction at 46 feet, it wants to take a sharp left turn. It's going to force her to make near perfect shots, and on this lane condition, I'm not so sure that having to be perfect is going to result in a win tonight.
DZ in. Wow. Elizabeth, I'm coming to join you. My heart hurts for that 8-pin. We've seen a few 8-pins today. What a shot this is.
She's begging for it to get down the lane.
I'll tell you, as great as the carry has been for many players this week, an 8-pin will come up and rear its ugly head every now and then.
In the last game of qualifying, Diana needed a huge game to get into the top 12. She ended up shooting, I believe, 279 to get into that number. And the only time she missed was an 8-pin. And it spun around, did dances, backflips even, I think, before it chose to stand up and force her to shoot the spare.
BZ now 32. Again, recently married to husband EJ earlier this year. 2 standard titles. Minnesota in 2015, of course 2018 Pepsi St. Petersburg Clearwater Open. Keep that in mind. She's won a Pepsi sponsored event in the past. 5th frame. Bang.
She posted that one like, is it going to 8-pin again? What's it going to do?
Well, she has been perfect on the left lane. Speaking of Diana. And as you mentioned, Sid, she started there. She's going to have to finish on the right lane. And Jillian Martin recognizing that situation. She steps up here looking for her first double of this match. She trails by 12. Double, maybe. Ball change. And she rings another 10-pin.
It is a ball change. And I believe it's from a big shiny ASIM to a big shiny ASIM. And that has been very much par for the course. On this right lane, we've seen in the last 4 shots, wrap 10, 8-pin, wrap 10 between the 2 players. Knowing what we know about lane 22, hooks sooner than 21.
Six frame Jillian. Good shots. It's not like she hasn't thrown them pretty good. But all 10 down there. And your championship match is next. Number 1 seed Caitlyn Johnson hung on. Oh, there's a look at Patrick Martinez. He will not like you for that chase. He knows now. Thanks to Patrick. Got to be flexible when you work out on the PWBA Tour. He was asked to be our down lane photographer for shows this week and is handling business as he always does. Zavjalova looking to handle business in frame 6. Her first double, the first strike for Diana on the right lane.
It's a great shot for Diana. The right lane typically has been more friendly. In our first match, our winner was 6 for 7 on the right lane. Diana's last match, 6 for 7 on the right lane. It was surprising to me to not see the best carry over there.
The 2-time major champion. 2 Queen's titles on her resume. Hall of Fame eligible. Big shot there, and it's a three-bagger for a DZN. What you're doing on a wonderful Saturday night, but we appreciate you sharing some time with us here. Emil Williams Jr. with Sydney Brummett, Chase Kaufman, Cecil Scarborough on stats, Patrick Martinez down lane. Semifinals of the PWBA Pepsi Open. Jillian Martin taking on Diana Zavjalova. We'll recap things for you during the break. Now Martin looking to double up, trailing by 32.
Come on, Jillian.
Need some help. Was hoping for some help and will not get any help. A 4-9.
Although Jillian made the ball change, it is still something that is extremely quick. The ball we see players use later in the blocks. Her coach at Nebraska is the person I think of using this ball the most on tour, Julia Bond.
Had to give it a run. Jillian has had plenty of success again in kickoff or classic-like events, especially in 2021. 8th, 2nd, and 3rd at the kickoff classic. 13th, 22nd, then 1st, of course, at the summer classic that same season. Last year, 7th, 23rd, 17th. Another classic event, already a 4th place finish yesterday or 2 nights ago. Great shot. Think about the amount of top 5 finishes for a player who just turned 19 years old.
Incredible.
At this level of competition. Again, she is a non-member. For Jillian specifically, her earnings will be deposited to a smart fund. Caitlyn Johnson, who is a non-member and the #1 seed, she will be taking cash. Straight cash, homie.
Fill out that direct deposit form with Robin Graves.
No, I want the cash. Give me that.
In a briefcase.
I'll take it. Oh, 7-pin. Thought about it.
That right lane starting to hook earlier. Diana made the move in the 6th frame. We saw her coming slightly high on the head pin here. That's why the 7-pin wants to go late. This is why it's so important to watch your opponents. Watch them without emotion, right? We don't have to give them, momentum by watching them, because maybe they get an off hit or two. But when we do watch them, they can give us information. Oh, great shot from Diana. Late slap on the 10. But they can give you information, right? Diana could have watched Jillian's shots and seen the 4-9. Okay, I need to make a move. Right? If you know what the player has done before or what their tendencies are, you can stay ahead of transition. And when you're bowling for titles out here on tour, it's a necessity. You have to pay attention.
For Jillian Martin at this point, any non-strike, and Diana Zavjalova will move on. An opportunity to win her 2nd consecutive title. J. Mart still in it. Again, heading back to Nebraska for a sophomore campaign. Helped the team to a Final Four appearance. D1 Rookie of the Year on the All-Rookie squad. Was a first-team NTCA All-American. Not getting it done the other day, Sid. She said that just makes her want it more. To be out there again. Not winning adds more fuel to the fire. And not certainly giving up, as you would not expect her to. I also asked her how has these experiences bowling on tour helped her as a collegiate player, and she said it's helped her become a better leader, especially last year as a freshman stepping into that environment for the first time. Great shot.
Yeah, there are so many times my college players will ask, hey, coach, can I go bowl the Masters? Can I go bowl the U.S. Open? And my answer is always yes. As long as it doesn't overlap with, you know, a tier 1 or nationals or sectionals, of course. But the reason for that is it's going to provide a sort of experience that I can't give to them. I can't formulate a practice to feel like what Jillian's feeling right now, and neither can Coach Klempa or Coach Bond of Nebraska. She is able to bring this experience to her teammates and share it with them, and that is priceless.
Jillian Martin, 2:05. And now it's official. Diana Zavjalova will advance to the championship match, her second consecutive.
Another look at the Halo Pearl there for Diana. Gonna chat with her ball reps for a hot second.
For Jillian specifically, she will not be a part of the Tour Championship. She is not a PWBA Tour member, and that event is for members only. For Diana, again, watching, and the final score ultimately will not matter. She's getting an opportunity to look at a couple of, or at least one different ball. But just thinking back to what we've seen from her in these past couple of days, 260 almost is par for the course.
Absolutely. Crossing next to her, when I looked up and I saw something less than 230, 240, I was surprised. In the next game, she usually made sure she was even keel again, shooting 270 or 280.
All right, folks, 260, 205, the championship match is set.
Your game is about to get better. Introducing SPI Plus, a new digital magazine monthly from Storm. This month, practical advice from Danielle McEwen on setting goals and reaching them. Practice tips from Shannon O'Keefe and SPI Plus columns on your fit, fitness, even traveling tips. SPI Plus. Visit stormbowling.com, enter promo code 2023 and get the entire year free. Take your game to the next level with SPI Plus.
It is time for the championship match. Caitlyn Johnson, the #1 seed, she will take on Diana Zavjalova after going 5 full seasons without winning a PWBA Tour. Now she's got a chance, or Tour title. Now she's got a chance to win 2 in a row, both right here at Cadillac Extreme Bowling Center. Emil Williams Jr., Sydney Brummett. Sid, you take a look at this championship match. Caitlyn Johnson making her first career Stepladder Finals appearance at this level. Someone we all thought and knew at some point would be able to take this next step, certainly with the decorated collegiate career she had at Weber International. How can she navigate all the things you need to navigate as the #1 seed, making your first show, and obviously bowling against a stout opponent in Diana Zavjalova?
Just take it one frame at a time. That's all she can do. She has to control her controllables. Really just focus on, what do I need to do best to play well right now, not what do I need to do to beat Diana.
I like that. You got to keep it simple. We'll take you to the lanes. It is time. The high fives from the Weber alums. It looks like Diana Zavjalova is going to start the match. All right, well, while we have a moment, as the scoreboards get set and ready, and we'll remove the practice element to them. Arrows reversed, and here we go. P. Martin down lane saying hi in the Bowl TV chat. It's crazy. Sometimes they say once you win, you know, they come in bunches, that kind of thing. But here's Zavjalova. A chance to make that very, very true. And she will pause. Reset. Diana, again, 5 career titles, looking for title number 6. Following the Waterloo Open win, she did move into 2nd place in the points list. If she were to win, obviously would close certainly the gap a little bit more between her and Jordan Richard. With a full Tour Championship major to go. 4, 6, 7 to begin for Diana.
If that one struck, Caitlyn was in a lot of trouble. Diana's at 21 at the arrows, about 14, 15 down lane. She takes the count, gets 2. We're gonna open early.
First shot coming up here for Caitlyn Johnson, the 24-year-old Beaumont, Texas native. A full-time general manager at AMF Camellia Lanes. So working there for about 5 months. I mentioned the getting her degrees at Weber International, a bachelor's in marketing and sports business management, a master's in international business.
Come on, Caitlyn, get it going.
First shot. And the old fast 8 there.
Really not surprising on the right lane. Balls want to pick up in the body of the lane. So what I mean by that is kind of in between the arrows and the rangefinders. The reverse brush drop on this pattern is only 33 feet. Really close to us. So if a ball's going to hook early, it's going to hook around that portion of the lane.
It's only been one leader throughout. And Chase, you can give me the head nod, but correct me if I'm wrong. Caitlyn Johnson has, after the end of each round, been in the lead. Now, it took a lot to withstand a couple of efforts. One from who we're talking about now, of course, in Diana Zavjalova, as well as Jillian Martin. In the position round, Jillian did move in front of Diana to claim the number 2 seed, but when we went into the position round, it was Caitlyn Johnson 1, and 30 pins back was Diana Zavjalova. Can she finish the deal in her first championship round appearance? That's got a hook. And the 2-4-10. Again, one of those leaves where if you do happen to get it right, like down lane, you could be in some trouble.
Absolutely. Caitlyn, further right than Diana. 20 at the arrows. Launch angle much too steep on that shot. Gets outside of that dark rangefinder down lane. 2-4-10, very convertible. She'll give it a run.
Nice. Excellent conversion there for Johnson. She remains clean. And maybe that might give a woo-saw a little bit here. As Zavjalova gets set to step up here, she trails by 8. both of these players, as we look at this conversion, textbook, as they say, both players have shot 300 in this tournament. Caitlyn Johnson twice. Right lane. And that pops high. 3-6-10 for Zavjalova.
We saw Diana go to a different ball in her first 2 shots in the 10th last match. From where I'm sitting, it appears it would be time to go to it. She's still in that RSTX1. And it wants to hook too soon. You can see it starting to change directions in between the 2 rangefinders, where in the first couple matches that she bowled, it wasn't starting to shape until after that second rangefinder.
She handles the spare. In the Waterloo Open final, she was the number 4 seed. She defeated Carrie Smith 244 to 204, advanced to face Jillian Martin, who she then defeated 249 to 233, or 223, excuse me. A very tough game, went back and forth for late down the stretch, but defeated Jordan Richard 212 to 192, and then defeated Shannon Pluhowski, who was excellent during the Waterloo Open, dominant at times, 279 to 244. For her first victory since the 2018 Pepsi St. Petersburg Clearwater Open. Trailing by 8. And now trouble again, 4-6 here for DZ and Sydney Brummett. What are we seeing here?
This RSTX1 is hooking much too soon. The lanes have certainly developed. With only 4 mils of oil on the reverse pass, it wants to go and go quickly when it starts to transition. We had women out here who maybe this was only their first or second tour stop, and they said, wow, I feel like I have to move my feet every shot that I make. And yes, that's true, because we had 5 on a pair. And the transition was happening so quickly. And here on this TV finals on 21 and 22, we're not going to see that transition start to happen as rapidly because there are only 2 women bowling at a time. But now that we're in our final round, our final match to determine our title, we're going to see these lanes transition and transition quickly.
Caitlyn Johnson now with a 21-pin advantage and still looking for her first strike during the eternity from 900 Global. The 2-time most valuable player at Weber. Wow, and a 4.79. She left a fast 8 in frame 1 on the right lane. Sydney Brummett didn't expect certainly low scores, but oh my.
Got fast 8 with a friend. Essentially the same leave. Ball coming in high. Unfortunate to leave the 9-pin with the fast 8 this time. Both players needing to make a move to the left. Tries to give that one a run as well. Ends up missing the count. Gets the 7-pin only. Now just a 6-pin difference between Diana and Caitlyn, and nobody has struck yet. I wouldn't have guessed this in a magic crystal ball.
Absolutely
leading
not.
into this match.
Caitlyn graduated in 2020. Her final season at Weber. Diana 2014. Both decorated athletes again at Weber. Their collegiate resumes a mile long. First strike maybe? There it is.
They do exist. All right. Here we go. Pretty big move for Caitlyn. 20-21 at the arrows. And we are going to see a ball change here from Diana. Going to go from her X1 to her Halo Pearl.
Diana has now bowled 6 games in Stepladder Finals competition. She is averaging 246.5.
Shake it off.
Nice ball change there. Big fist pump. That's when you know not only did you ace the shot, but you committed to the move and the change, and it certainly worked well.
Sitting back here, it's much easier to say, well, you know, the first 2 in the 10th that she threw the last match had better ball reaction than the X1 that she won the match with. And, you know, the fill ball she threw with the X1, the very last shot, it did go high. 4-7 went late. Could she have ball changed right away? Yes. Should she have? I don't think I would have.
Still trailing by 6. Could be the first to double. All right, she'll take a minute. It's a chance to reset again. If you missed what I just said, I told you the recap from Diana's victory at the Waterloo Open 2 nights ago. She averaged 246 in those 4 matches. Tonight she's averaging 247.5 through 2 matches. Total 246.5. Wow. Took the extra time and it paid off. Big double right there.
Good sign here for Diana. Small move to the left. She's at 23-24 at the arrows now. 14 about down lane. She's playing catch with the 3-pin at this point.
Can she double for the first time? And that is high. And now Caitlyn, at this point, especially on the right lane, has got to make a move or ball change. Which one in this situation do you think is best? Or both?
And that depends, right, on the player. Because there was no perfect bowling ball, right? If that were true, every player would be throwing the same one, and that's not what we see. We see similar types, but not the same ball. Knowing Caitlyn, it's simple. That's what she's going to favor. So more than likely it's just a move left. Keep her speed firm. The one thing she has to do right now, the only non-negotiable, is make a decision and commit to it. And it's going to have to be a bold one.
Living out a dream situation here. Always dreamt about winning a Stepladder Finals on TV. She said it kept her up many a nights thinking about it. There's a good shot. Perhaps a move left. A little tight down lane. What do you think, Sid?
That would be my assumption. Just move into the volume a tad bit more. And the problem for Caitlyn is she's moving into other people's transition. She is further right than the rest of our competitors have been. So what she's moving left into is where everybody else is already bowling. So her moves are going to have to be bigger than everyone else's.
Look out. Diana, the beneficiary of 2 Brooklyn strikes tonight on the right lane. One against good friend Verity Crawley. And another right here in frame number 6 versus Caitlyn Johnson in the championship match.
As a competitor, I'm impressed she gets them to go Brooklyn. Honestly, the fact that she can get them to shape enough down lane to do that is impressive. A lot of us couldn't even get the ball to go Brooklyn. There's so much structure in the middle part of the lane. So snaps for her, you take it. Try to parlay it on this left lane.
Gets a good break there. Out of split trouble. And just a 4-pin.
I didn't know what pins were going to stand up when that one went through the pin deck. Usually you can kind of tell. Fortunate to leave only the 4-pin.
Good spare. Let's look at the 2024 PWBA national schedule. Next season, headed to the Twin Cities Open May 2nd through the 5th. Also in May, the Rockford Open, the Cherry Bowl, the Queens to be held at the Ashwaubenon Bowling Alley in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Another Classic Series in Nashville at Smyrna Bowling Center. Then to the Southern Indiana Open in Clarksville, Indiana. Royal Penn Woodland for the U.S. Women's Open. The Lucy, of course, and Tour Championship Week headed for the ever so famous Thunder Bowl. What a shot there. Had to have it.
The PWBA team dropped that schedule casually when we were just in the middle of round 1 in Stockton, California. And I remember opening my phone and refreshing the post like 3 or 4 times, thinking that maybe they just accidentally typed a 4 instead of a 3. Like, I thought they were like, hey, remember 2023 is here. We're starting the season. Nope, just kidding. We already know where we're going for 24. Perfect surprise.
It's kind of a must-have here. Has it. 2 wonderful shots for Caitlyn Johnson.
One thing about Caitlyn, she's extremely gritty, so it doesn't matter really what the situation is that's going on around her. She's going to find a way to put herself in a position to come out successful. Even if it's dirty and isn't beautiful, she's got 3 donuts up there. Doesn't matter.
8th frame, Diana, that is left, will not break down the split. 6, 7, 10, and Caitlyn Johnson with more life, trying to win her first PWBA Tour event. Zavjalova trying to win her 2nd consecutive. We saw her go Brooklyn before on this right lane. Sydney, that time, of course, it was left, not going Brooklyn, unable to break down the split.
The bowling balls want to hook early on that right lane. Diana's going to have to bowl her 10th frame on that lane, potentially making shots to win this match over there. She'll have to make a gutsy move.
Zavjalova now on the losing end of this thing here. She is trailing by 7 pins. The lead change with the open in the 8th. Caitlyn Johnson, after starting slow, Didn't panic, and neither did Diana Zavjalova. She too started slow, as Sid just mentioned, with a couple of red circles. Caitlyn Johnson with a few red circles. We've got ourselves a match. 201 max score for Zavjalova. Ninth frame. That was kind of a must-have right there.
Firmer off of her hand for sure. Got through the front part of the lane. No doubt it was going to find the 1-3. And good enough for all 10 to fall down.
Don't forget to stay tuned. Post-game interview with our champion. For 4 in a row. And that 6-pin was lazy. My, oh my. If that falls right there, Caitlyn Johnson can step up and shut out.
This match is a little too spicy for me.
It is.
I don't know what I don't know what's gonna happen. Usually at this point we have a clue.
A lot of folks watching from Beaumont, Texas, no doubt about it. A lot of folks watching near Lake Wales, Florida, and Weber. The entire Weber family watching this one, I'm sure. Coach Randy Stoughton, the late Randy Stoughton, would be very proud, certainly of Diana Z, and certainly of Caitlyn Johnson. Now, Caitlyn's max 197, and I'm thinking she's going to need at least a double here, Sid, in this 10th frame. Again, she's dreamt about this. She also thought this top seed was important. Her opportunity. First one, 10th frame. Bang.
Great shot from Caitlyn. She's a player that her rev rate is on the lower side in comparison to somebody like Diana or Jillian. So she has to ensure her ball gets to the friction. So the difference between the shot on the right lane and the left lane is very simple. When her ball gets into the oil and it skids a little bit too far, the likelihood of all 10 falling down is lower than that of some of the people she's competing against, being this far left. She doesn't have that guaranteed entry angle. That one, on the other hand, gets to the friction. Ball has enough energy to drive through the pins, splits the 8-9.
Important shot to get in the 190s. Wow, it held line, Sydney Brummett.
Caitlyn hadn't missed on that left lane since the second frame, where she made that all-important 2-4-10. This is why it's imperative that we remember when we're competing that every frame, every shot has a life and history of its own. That 2-4-10, if Caitlyn just is upset that she leaves it, doesn't take it seriously, gets up there and mindlessly shoots it, only gets 2, we're not even having this conversation right now. We're celebrating Diana.
High flush. Caitlyn Johnson performed when she needed it. She throws 6 out of the last 7 to get to 197. And now for Diana Zavjalova, a double and 7 pins to win her 2nd consecutive title. PWBA Waterloo Open just 2 nights ago. Looking to add the PWBA Pepsi Open to her resume. That's simple. 2 strikes and 7 pins. First offering, did not like it again. And Caitlyn Johnson, as a non-member, has won her first PWBA Tour event. Weber, you've already been wilding, I'm sure, but you can go crazy now. Beaumont, Texas, you too can go crazy. Good spare by Zavjalova. Obviously, nothing to hang DZ's head about. She wins the first event this week, now finishing in second. But Caitlyn Johnson throws the last 6 of 7 strikes to put herself in position to force Diana to get 2 in the 10th and 7 on the fill. How about that?
Yeah, Diana just never saw the picture on this right lane during her match against Caitlyn. There, she finally gets one to the right. Fill ball always strikes. Great performance from Diana.
197, 181. The future, folks. I know she's a full-time general manager at AMF Camellia Lanes. We thought when she first came out on tour a few years back following her wonderful collegiate career at Weber, she was going to be a force. She hasn't even bowled a full tour stop or full season in a year and some change, and she is a PWBA Tour event winner. As a non-member, she will not receive a champion's banner, but the history is the history.
Thank you for. Oh.
On behalf of Pepsi and Cadillac XBC, we'd like to congratulate you on winning the Pepsi Open.
That's so awesome. Is it backwards? Okay, yeah, it's backwards.
Caitlyn, welcome. How does it feel, your first title?
You know, I don't have words. It was awesome to come bowl for the first time in 2 years, just to be out here with everybody. Did not expect this to happen at all, and just happened to match up good and execute shots whenever needed. Thankfully, I had a lot of people in my corner saying breathe, because that was not happening at all. But yeah, I really don't have words yet.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bowling. During qualifying, you shot 2 300s, and you made me do a lot of paperwork. So
Sorry.
What was the great paperwork to have. But what was the mindset once you found your look and your, just taking in everything that you've learned out on the lanes for the championship match today?
Just basically keep striking, because that's what everybody else was doing, and I wanted to stay with pace pretty much. That was the only thing going through my mind was execute shots. Left foot goes forwards. That's the only thing I could think about, especially this last game. And then elbow in for sure, because that's been a tendency of mine as well. But that just kept me grounded to where I wasn't really thinking about all the extra stuff like this trophy. Because it really didn't hit until well after I threw my last shot. I was like, oh, I have a chance. Cool. But yeah, that was just the whole process of the past 2 days, was just execute shots and do the best I can.
Keeping it simple. I like that. So you said you haven't bowled in about 2 years. What advice do you have for the women, young girls out there who would like to be in your position right now?
Trust the process. Life happened. I had to do the whole adulting thing, so that kind of took over. Bowling kind of took a back burner for a little while. Wrist injury in 21 set me back, and then, really I just felt like I was ready to finally come back out, and PTO helps as well. Thank you, Bolero. Appreciate that. But that's just trust the process. Trust your people in your corner. I would not have made it this far if it wasn't for Bree over there, who's gonna make me emotional again. And of course my parents have been watching. Patrick, who's been a good friend of mine for years. My boyfriend, and of course my sponsors. Storm took me under their wing this year, and I'm so thankful for them. If it wasn't for Storm, then honestly, I probably wouldn't have found my confidence again. Coolwick, they've always had my back. They're awesome jersey designs, love them. And Turbo, I've abused their grips today. I had to change out grips like 4 times. So very thankful for them, because if it wasn't for them, I would not have gotten to the finals.
Nice. Well, thank you, Caitlyn. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, your 2023 PWBA Pepsi Open champion. Thank you all for coming out. But next up here at Cadillac XBC, we have a major title on the line, the PWBA Tour Championship. So make sure you come out. Our athletes will have a practice session in the morning, and then we begin competition tomorrow at 5 p.m. Thank you all for coming out. Follow along on Bowl TV. The finals will be live on CBS Sports Network on Tuesday. Safe travels, everyone.
Welcome back, folks. Nice job by Robin Graves, our PWBA brand manager, handling that on-lane interview with our newest winner, Caitlyn Johnson. A lot of things stood out, and we will talk to Caitlyn here in just a second, Sid, but I knew she did have a wrist injury that she was working through in 2021. She actually attempted to bowl a full season that year and had to cut it short a little bit. She mentioned life, and life always happens, certainly. But she's so young, 24 years of age. I'm sure she knew that she could do this, but obviously it's one thing to know and it's another thing to do, and she did it here tonight.
Yeah, Caitlyn is no doubt a champion by all means necessary. Trust me, I've competed against her for a long time now. She'll run you over when she sees the picture clearly, and she did just that for the last 2 days. She shot 300, not once, but twice, once in each round of qualifying, and then bested our champion from just 2 days ago in Diana Zavjalova, which was not going to be an easy feat whatsoever. Diana is as sharp as can be, and it was surprising to see that low of a score in our title match, and ultimately it doesn't really matter what the score was because Caitlyn came out on top.
Yeah, she started slow, of course, and as did Diana Zavjalova, so, and I'm sure I'd have to think from that perspective, that kind of helped her settle down a little bit. She also made the 2-4-10 in frame number 2, which gives you some confidence as well. If your opponent also is struggling, you know you still got an opportunity. But she said she wasn't really focused on that, right? She looked up and said, hey, all right, I think I still got a chance at this thing here. And 6 out of the last 7 certainly is no slouch.
Yeah, she definitely made a move on both lanes further to the left, giving herself the opportunity to strike when she needed them. And whether she knew she needed them or not, she got them. We are going to attempt to grab our champion. Get her in the booth with us. Welcome.
Hello, hello.
Not making that same mistake today, Chase. She's won, right? Caitlyn's won? Got it. All right. Caitlyn Johnson. It's been a long time since we've seen someone go wire to wire. You led after every round, the number 1 seed, and you throw 6 out of the last 7, including obviously the clutch 10th frame to come away with this victory. What are you thinking currently? What are your thoughts, and what was happening in your mind during the 10th frame to perform the way that you did?
Don't think. I was thinking too much the first, 4 or 5 frames. Couldn't get the ball off my hand. The right lane was not helping anything either. So the last few frames I just focused on just executing, just go out there and throw the ball. And I got lined up good. Ball reps helped me with an adjustment on the right lane. Left lane, I just kind of used my judgment. I had to make a minor adjustment over there, nothing too crazy, and just rode the wave.
How much did the 2-4-10 make help, and then also maybe seeing Diana experience some of the things maybe you two were experiencing to kind of help settle you into the match?
I honestly think that helped me a lot because I was very nervous. The breathing thing was not working very well. But once we got through the first couple frames, I was like, okay, now I feel comfortable. So how do I find my line being comfortable? So that took another couple frames, which is totally way too long, which is why I tried so hard to execute in the last few frames, especially the 10th, knowing that I had at least a little bit of a chance if I struck out. So I was like, we're holding on to that. We're holding on to that. So, but yeah, it was definitely different seeing Diana come back after shooting 260, and now she doesn't have a look either. I was like, okay, so it's not entirely me. It's not all me throwing it bad. So that helped me loosen up a little bit too, because I was like, oh, it's not me. I'm actually, not the only problem here. The lane is not working for either of us. But yeah, that definitely helped a lot for sure, especially to get comfortable at the end.
There are so many amazing women bowlers around the country. So many, right? We think about them, and so many are not PWBA members, including yourself.
Yeah.
So what makes it worth it to come out here on tour, being a non-member? What about the PWBA brings you out here to say, you know what, that title's coveted. It means a lot to me. I'm going to go out and do it, even though I'm not a member.
Competing with the best in the world. I've always loved doing it, even whenever I was in high school, college. Being able to come out and just say, hey, I got to bowl with this person today, or hey, yeah, I met this person, or so on and so forth. I remember the first time I bowled Liz Johnson in match play. I beat her by a pin, by the way. Okay, not to brag. I was proud of myself. But, it's one of those, staple moments. Just I got to bowl with the GOAT, and I beat her by a pin. That's awesome. So, for me, a little bit of the fan factor, I guess. But also, now, a lot of you guys are my friends, like yourself. So I just love being able to come out, enjoy the week, be able to get away from work for a little bit. That's nice. And just being able to bowl again. And I've missed it a lot, especially after today.
Well, we're happy you're here. We are so, as a competitor, we're so happy that people like you choose to come out and compete no matter what on the PWBA tour, whether you're here full time or you're not. So thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
You mentioned work, and life happening, right? So AMF Camellia Lanes in Mobile, Alabama.
Yep.
I think I said Beaumont earlier, but in Mobile, Alabama. Yep. So what do you want to say to all of your colleagues, co-workers, and those who, now when you get back, you can say that you've won a championship on the PWBA tour?
Patty, I am so bragging about this on our district meeting call. I swear. She always brings up all her trophies that she gets for work. So I'm bringing my trophy, okay? But I had basically all of my managers, my mechanics all watching all day long, texting me nonstop. Even other general managers in our district were texting me, keeping track, looking for updates left and right. So it's awesome to have that support team, and I'm so thankful to have them because they definitely put a smile on my face. Yeah, I didn't expect that. I've been with the company for 7 months now, and they're a new family to me, and they just took me under their wing, and we've grown really close over these 7 months.
Final question. I asked you earlier, what would Coach Randy say prior to the match? Now that you've won, what would Coach Randy say, you think, at this point?
Why are you going to make me cry? I don't think he would have words. I think he would just give me a big hug and say, I'm so proud of you.
Enough said right there. Caitlyn Johnson, congratulations. Wire to wire, 2 300s, a 298, right?
Yes.
And all of the above, and the Pepsi Open title is going back to Mobile, Alabama. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you.
Of course.
You're welcome. That is Caitlyn Johnson, the winner of the PWBA Pepsi Open. We will close it out here in just a second. Wow, what a show. Some unexpected items, I would say, certainly. But said all in all, just like any other Stepladder Finals appearance, and you anticipate great bowling, which we certainly had. There was some surprises, certainly late. Didn't think the championship match, as far as what was going on the lanes, would take place, especially the way Diana had been locked in throughout, which obviously gave the sign or the signal, if you will, for Caitlyn that everything it's just not her. It's also DZ, which helped her settle in, as we heard her say. Your final takeaways from what we watched tonight?
Oh, man. There's a lot to unpack with this one. Geez. Do what you dream of?
Yes.
That's all I got.
Absolutely. I like that. And speaking of the Tour Championship, and I know that was we had some questions about that. I still have the unofficial list. This was through qualifying, but it's unofficially official because New Wave Finn did not win this tournament, and she was the last player who could have won to get a spot into the top 24 for tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Central, right here on Bowl TV. It'll be 24 games of match play, 3 rounds of match play, 8 games each. I will read off the 24 real quick before we go off the air. Jordan Richard, Diana Zavjalova, Lindsey Boomershine, Brianna Cote, Dasha Kovalova, Birgit Nordreichs, Shannon Pluhowski, Verity Crawley, Maria Jose Rodriguez, Danielle McEwen, Lauren Pate, Aaron McCarthy, Stephanie Zavala, Hope Gramley, Liz Johnson, Brianna Clemmer, Taylor Boltice, Julia Bond, Stephanie Johnson, Sherry Tan, Clara Guerrero, Ashley Galante, Josie Barnes, and Liz Colkin. It's unofficially official, and yes, it will be updated certainly tomorrow. And one item of note, even though Diana did not win this tournament, by finishing second, if I looked at the right points block in the rule book, that has put her about 9,500 points behind Jordan Richard for PWBA Player of the Year. So, folks, we've got ourselves a new race. There's a new player involved. It's Diana Zavjalova, but Lindsey Boomershine and Brianna Cote still with outside chances to win at this point.
Coming into this week, I would have told you to put that Player of the Year trophy in a box, wrap it up, put a bow on it. The name tag should say Jordan Richard. There was no doubt in that. We knew that there were other players like Lindsay and Bree that were having great years, and Diana. And now it's like, Diana's throwing it great.
She clearly likes this building.
She likes the building. She's matching up. The pins want to fall for her. She's feeling good. She's won like 3 of those fun bears. She's got the good mojo in this building. We might see Diana Zavjalova pass Jordan Richard for Player of the Year.
This is going to be a phenomenal week. Certainly, we've got one more event to go. 3 days, or 2 days, I should say, PWBA Tour Championship, 24 games of match play. What a performance by Caitlyn Johnson, and shout out again to Diana Zavjalova, a win at the Waterloo Open 2 nights ago, runner-up tonight, the PWBA Pepsi Open. We'd like to thank the United States Bowling Congress and the USBC Board, the Bowling Proprietors Association of America, and the BPAA Board. Kegel, the official lane maintenance provider of the PWBA. They are also a proud gold partner, along with Brunswick, Storm, Rotogrip, and now Lane Talk. We thank all of them for their generous contributions to the PWBA. I'd like to thank the great athletes on this tour who continue to provide the fantastic performances that we get a chance to discuss and talk about. We saw a lot of them the past 4 days of competition. I would like to thank Chase Kaufman. Great work, Chase. Not only today, yesterday, the previous 2 days, trying to get us on and off the air, troubleshooting and all of the above, along with Patrick Martinez, all doing the same thing. Great work to both of you, and to Sydney Brummett. Another great job.
Thank you.
This is our final time together for this season. It's been a pleasure to share this space with you here in 2023. Thank you very much.
Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
All right, folks, we will see you tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, round number 1 of the PWBA Tour Championship. Be sure to check pwba.com for all the updated stats, standings, and the Tour Championship lists. For Patrick, Chase, Sydney, my name is Emil Williams Jr. We say so long for now. Big thanks to all of the staff here at Cadillac Extreme Bowling Center. This has been a presentation of the PWBA Pepsi Open. Caitlyn Johnson, a champion today, right here on Bowl TV.